What's happening, everybody? It's Shawn with Reactions to the Classics, and today we've got a Magnum Top 10 of the Jet years, 1978 through 1983, brought to us by a friend, longtime patron, and supporter of the channel, Joseph, also Magnum superfan, along with Marillion superfan, along with RTTC superfan. Okay, that last one might be pushing it just a little bit, but always appreciate Joseph. He's the expert here, and I mean, he is the expert here when it comes to Magnum. So we're going to use his words, not my own. You guys will be glad about that. So here's what he has to say. Magnum by Era Volume 1, as we cover the early pomp phase of their long career. Thanks to my potted history on my previous Magnum list, we don't have to cover all that old ground in too much detail this time, because we've done another Magnum Top 10, which I will link on the end screen. Go check it out afterwards. And Joseph did a great write-up on the history of the band and all that. But he said, but being that we're in the band's 50th anniversary year, there have been a couple of interviews which have offered some fresh insights into some of these albums' tracks. So I'll throw that stuff in where appropriate. 2 songs from Chase the Dragon that made the S list, because that's what we did, top 10 S songs. Soldier of the Line and Sacred Hour belong on the definitive top 10 list for this era, but no point doing repeats when there's so much more to explore. Personnel on all tracks, we got Bob Catley on lead vocals, Tony Clarkin on guitars, Wally Lowe on bass and backing vocals, and Kex Gorin on drums, with Richard Bailey on keyboards and flute on a couple of them, and Mark Stanway on keyboards and all other tracks that Bailey's not on. So before we get started, music's not going to be in the video. Be on a Vimeo link below. Go check that out and listen. Go on the whole journey with us here. Let's start it out with number 10. You see it below. In the Beginning, from the Kingdom of Madness album in 1978. Although I found when I researched, this album, Kingdom of Madness, was actually recorded in 1976. It just came out in 1978. Joseph says the only logical place to start, first track from the first album, and it's called In the Beginning. I mean, what else could you start with? In any case, a good example of Tony's quickly discarded fantasy phase and how Catley describes a very early sound, quote, quite involved, very intricate for the time. It was everything that punk was trying to get rid of. So I'll have the lyrics up as always. This is the longest song on here. I don't have any research of my own. I tried to research every one of these songs. There was nothing out here. So good thing Joseph is the expert. So thank you for that, Joseph. And let's get started. Wow. What a way to start this thing off, right? In the Beginning, Magnum, first song on the first album. Really gutsy to go 7 minutes, almost 8 minutes on your first song on your first album. Super enjoyed it. All kinds of tempo changes. Everything you want out of an 8-minute song, right? When I don't like long songs, I don't like them when they're just repetitive, right? And over again, it's the same tempo, it's the same melody, it's the same instrumentation. Like, I got it after 4. You don't need to go 10 or 8. So really enjoyed that about it. You know, I don't think this is going to be a real lyrics-driven album, you know, and if you watch this channel, you know I love lyrics. However, I also love REM, and their lyrics are hardly ever great. So there is a something to, and Radiohead as well, as a matter of fact. So there is something for this, and I really do enjoy this kind of music. So I thought every part of it was good. I mean, I don't really need to break down the lyrics on it. I think the highlight vocally was the chorus, right? Give me another chance in another way. Give me another time in another day. Give me another part in another play. You know, in the beginning, you can find some allusions to a higher power in here towards the end, where he says, or else into a war to end all wars, sink without a trace on the Prince of Dreams, and you shall know my face. You're going to know my face. Find the light that shines on everyone. Someone shines the light for me. Look inside yourself to understand the questions answered. Now I see. I am your life. I am your life. I am your God-given life. So you can put a little bit of allusions in myself as a Christian. I can read into that kind of any way I want to, but that probably wasn't the intention, but who knows in the end. But good way to start. Now up to number 9, Road to Paradise off the 11th Hour album in 1983. So we had something from the first one. Now we're going to have something from the last one. And that's what Joseph says, from the first song on the first Jet Records album to the final track on the last of them. As mentioned last time around, the other top 10 that we did, Jet elected not to spend any money on a producer for this one, so Tony was left to produce it himself. He recently said, quote, I wasn't ready to become a producer, but it's the only way we could afford to make another album. It was extremely tough because I really didn't know what I was doing. Some days I was ecstatic, and others my head was in my hands in sheer desperation. Always stinks, man, but he got it done. It's going to say below when you look at the Spotify that, you know, it's some BBC Friday night radio session. It's not. Spotify's just got it labeled wrong, so this is the correct album version. Road to Paradise. I think this is kind of about chasing your ambitions, right? And kind of selling out and doing whatever you can to be successful. Innocence is traded on the road to paradise when ambition starts to raise its ugly head. Prizes won't be given for the last ones in the line, and that's something that we all appear to dread. So, like, we don't want to pay the price, or we don't want to do things that compromise our our values or our morals, yet we do, because that's what the first line is. Innocence is traded on the road to paradise. Listen to the ravings of a delusioned man when the rainy days collect to do their worst. Full of neat surprises is their sympathetic plan. It will cut you up and sell you till it hurts. And then we're all spinning on the roundabout. We're all spinning on the roundabout. Very catchy. Really did enjoy that one. The guitar work was fantastic. And just, it's a good rocking song, man. Now we're up to number 8 off the Magnum 2 album in 1979. We got If I Could Live Forever. Joseph said, asked if he was contemplating anything in particular when he wrote this one. Tony says, quote, not really. I just wanted to make it a really dramatic statement. I don't remember where the song might have come from, but I do know that when we played it on stage, I wanted it to have lots of light and shade. It had to be grandiose. If I Could Live Forever. I think this is one of the songs, if you're listening to this and you're not a Magnum fan, you're just watching it because you watch the channel and you're curious what you think. This one may be a little bit of a polarizing one, because this sounds like a song that, you know, a hair metal band could have done in 1986. And that is why I love it, because I love that kind of music. So if you don't like it, I get it, man. But I love it. This is my favorite one on here so far. I thought Kex's drumming in particular was really fantastic on there. And obviously the vocals from Bob were really, really good. The song itself, I think this girl, like, this dude fell in love with her. And you gave me your love to last me forever. Our love is forever. You gave me your love to last me wherever I go. But then we kind of find out she leaves him, because like Friday night's almost over. Not a word has passed between. If again he should embrace you, would you follow him or stay? Could you take what you would go through? So I know if I could live forever, nothing would change to better. Nothing will change at all. Just a really well done song. Now we're already up to our 7th track, On the Edge of the World, from the Chase the Dragon album in 1982. Joseph says, although Tony insists he hasn't listened to any of the early Magnum albums in decades, even he can't help but be enthusiastic about the making of this album with producer Jeff Glicksman, then and still best known for helming a Run of Kansas album in the mid-70s. Tony said, I always liked Kansas, I still do. It was very exciting to work with Jeff, and we got on very well together. We used to work at an incredible volume, and I mean 5 billion watts. He modestly adds, I think I was starting to write better songs by that point. That said, this particular cut is one that I rarely see mentioned, Joseph is saying this, by band or fans, but I love it. So here it is, and it's his top 10 list, so he can do this. On the Edge of the World, Tony's guitars were on a next level there, and just a very catchy chorus on there. You know you're dreaming all your precious time away. So I don't know if this is someone who's just disconnected in life, right? And it's time to get re-engaged. They're ignoring people. They're off doing their own thing. But it's more just about the melody, right, and the catchiness of it. So, you know, I mean, I'm a broken record, but Bob's vocals were great. They work. You got to have this kind of voice to sing these kinds of songs. Tony on the guitars, and then Wally, I don't really ever mention much on bass. In a music like this, the bass work is not ever going to be mixed to the forefront, or usually isn't ever going to be, but it's absolutely fundamental to the music. And Kex's drumming, yeah, same way. You know, that rhythm section has to be there, man. Now we're up to number 6. You see it below. The Word from the 11th Hour, 1983. Joseph says, going with the album version here, it did later have an orchestral remix with Lewis Clark, fresh from reviving destroying classical music, depending on your point of view, with the Hooked on Classics albums conducting. While it's pleasant enough and mercifully free of an underlying disco beat, their more recent tracks with orchestral arrangements show it up as the expensive afterthought it was. So we're going with the album version, no worries here. The Word, I think it could also have been titled Day by Day, and that would have worked. Just really enjoyed that one. He said, wait, here's a word or two to you who are passing through. Time is on your side, though some may be denied. Just waiting, standing around. The time will come for everyone. Still waiting, soon to be found. The light inside of everyone. Nobody said it was easy. You know it ain't easy, making your way all by yourself. But you got to take what you've got, though it don't seem like a lot, and you give it the best that you can. Life is a precious thing, so don't burn it up. Start living it day by day. So I just really enjoyed the lyricism on this one and the message to it of, look, man, you got to live every day like it matters, but it's really hard to do, right? In reality, like days just kind of mundane. They blend into the next. You're looking forward to something maybe that's a month from now. So you're just trying to get through these days. And if you go through like a health scare, lose a loved one, anything like that, all of a sudden you start to learn how precious life is and you start enjoying it day by day. But then what happens eventually? The monotony of the day by day goes in. So songs like this are a really good reminder that, look, man, no one ever told us this was going to be easy, but, you know, you got to hang in there, man. And the writing style on music like this is usually a lot of repetition of verses, and that's what they did on here. They've done it on most of these songs, but the life is a precious thing, so don't burn it up, start living it day by day. And that repeats itself twice inside each chorus, and it ends with 3 choruses. So it really makes it stick in your head. It's in my head right now. Now we're to the top 5 of this list. We got All of My Life from Magnum 2 in 1979. Joseph says another grandiose track from the second album. Tony says, quote, I wanted to incorporate a few extra time changes just to see if they work. Sometimes you can put a lot of work into a song and think you've been really clever, but then you find it's not good on the ears. Richard Bailey described the failure of the album to chart as disappointing, but the blow was softened by a great tour supporting Blue Oyster Cult, though he feels the headliners never forgave them for an incident early in the tour where the Magnum Boys went to the wrong dressing room and devoured all of BOC's food and beer. Nonetheless, his tastes were increasingly diverging from the band's. He says they were all into hard rock, while he was more into Steely Dan at the time, prompting his departure shortly thereafter. I know 99% of you watching this would be into Steely Dan. I'm more into hard rock, but hey, man, let's check out All of My Life. You definitely could feel the Steely Dan influence on that, right? Richard Bailey on the keys, and then Wally Lowe with that bass at the start really set that tone of more of a Steely Dan sound. Then it kind of morphed into more the Magnum sound we've heard on these previous tracks, but still with a little bit of that Steely Dan, a little bit of a difference throughout the song. You know, it starts out, I like it now, everything's gone my way. I'm a king among men. I did what the people say with the sword, not the pen. All of my life, I gave it away. I gave it away, threw it all away, he says, after he goes through a lot of all of my lives. I constitute all that's left, the brave and the wild, all gone to seek endless rest, their sleep unspoiled. All my life, I gave it away, I gave it away. Now the water falls, the mountain calls. I'd give you all of these. For now the war is won, and I am done. No use am I. Peace, peace, all of my life. Oh Lord, I threw it all away. Now at last I can understand why I'm alone. I recognize not this land. My eyes have grown old. They've grown old all of my life. So I thought the writing on there was pretty good. The instrumentation, musicianship was fantastic. I will tell you, it's probably my least favorite song on here so far, but I mean, Joseph has it at 5, and some of you might even have it higher. I could see why you would. Next up from the Chase the Dragon album in 1982, we got Spirit. Joseph says an all-time fan favorite and a rare track from this era that still sees regular appearances in the band's live set. Bob says, quote, Chase the Dragon was when our sound started becoming the Magnum you'd expect to hear. With the epic keyboards and the magnificent guitars, I love the Spirit. That has great lyrics. It means a lot to me. People say the Spirit has kept them going in times of being down. Tony has written a lot of songs like that. If you're down, they lift your spirits. Let's check it out. Spirit, a really well done song. Once again, I mentioned earlier, I'm a Christian. I mean, I see this song as definitely could be about the Holy Spirit, right? That's what I think. And I mean, I see some people on Genius think that, but it's not what the band says, but or that I see anywhere. I looked for it, yes. But the Spirit will find you always be fair. The shallow verse once read means nothing at all, nor fearful gestures made for instant recall. In lies your heart will not share. The Spirit inside used without care. The Spirit that guides you, follow it through to the Spirit inside. You always be true. No beast alive does compare the Spirit beside you everywhere. Because it will be your shelter, help you to decide, and it will be your helper should your loyalties divide. I mean, I'm telling you, man. The dust lies thick on casket, rich or quite poor. Distinction disappears, the worm both deplore. The candle burns out once more, but the Spirit inside you won't be ignored. I mean, that's what I think the song is about. And everything was firing there, and it got nice little tempo changes, right, and build everything you want from a song from Magnum. So well done. Up to number 3, you see it below, The Prize from the 11th Hour in 1983. Joseph says, personally, I feel the 11th Hour might be the most unfairly overlooked album in the entire Magnum catalog, possibly due to Tony deliberately setting out to make a really uncommercial album. Bob has often referred to it as self-indulgent over the years, but also due to being sandwiched between 2 of the band's 3 best-loved albums. In any case, this is a stonking album opener in my book. All right, Joseph. The Prize. The highlight of that was Tony Clarkin's guitar work for me. Just fantastic. He starts out there, no secrets under the sun. All our troubles are rolled into one. Early warning, get ready to run, but it's hard to see clear, for we might disappear with the prize hardly won. And then he goes on, well, in private we shake. There's no time to make one small request. No more winners or losers to talk into the night. No more beggars or choosers. They're drawn into the fight. They don't belong. The race is on. And that's the motif that just keeps getting repeated. And it's just in all the way that Bob does that, right? He delivers these repeating choruses in a way that just, he really puts a lot of charisma into them. He doesn't sing them in some sort of bland way or in the same way. Like he changes up the fluctuations in his voice, and I think that's what makes it stick in your head. And they harmonize in there a little bit. No more winners or losers. It's all the right stuff to just stick in the head. So that was a good one. All right, we got 2 songs left. Now we're going to go to Back to Earth. It's a non-album single released in 1982, so it fits in this time frame of 78 to 83. Released between Chase the Dragon and the 11th Hour, another fan favorite, but like all Jet era singles, it missed the charts. Can't understand that, and it's a more straightforward tune for them at this point, and it's catchy as hell, certainly pointing towards a more commercially friendly sound they would shift to later in the 80s. They did resurrect this one for their Visitation tour in 2011. Joseph says the first tour I was on the right side of the world to catch, which was good timing on my part, and it made for a fantastic set opener. Hopefully it'll get dusted off again one more time in the near future. Back to Earth, which could have been called Tell Her I Need Her because that was a repeating motif there. Star of this by far, Kex Gorin on the drums. Fantastic work from the very jump all throughout the song. The whole song was a showcase for his ability. Just thought it was great. Tony's guitar work comes in there too some, but mainly it's Kex and it's keyboard work from Mark Stanway, I'm assuming, because there's 2 different keyboardists on this list, but I'm assuming that's Mark Stanway. So it kind of ends the way it starts with some keyboard and drum work, but throughout the drum work is fantastic. And then the harmonizing on the Tell Her I Need Her. I mean, the basic story of this is girl leaves him, right? And he's kind of leading a reckless life, we learn through the verses, but in the chorus, tell her I need her. So he still wants the girl, he needs her, and he's kind of gone down the wrong path without her. Drum roll, please, although you see the song already down below. We got Kingdom of Madness, the title track off the first album from 1978. And I'll remind you, it was actually recorded in 76. Joseph says the band's signature tune from the early days, and predictable as it might be, it had to be at number 1 here. Well, usually the signature tune is that way for a reason, right? Richard Bailey recently said he vividly recalled recording the memorable flute intro, but added, as time went on, we used the flute less. That was probably my fault, as I didn't want to end up wearing a codpiece and tights like Ian Anderson. I remember, that's funny to me, man. Echoing Bob's thoughts at the top of this list regarding the band's anticipated reception for their debut, Tony says, when we put out Kingdom of Madness, people just laughed at us. Sham 69 and punk were what was popular. Our stuff was so overblown, but it actually sold a few copies. Kingdom of Madness, Joseph's number 1 song on the Jet Years Top 10, 1978 to 1983. I can see why I chose it at number 1. The song is complex, well arranged, all kinds of tempo changes, all kinds of stuff going on. Tony's guitar work is probably better than on any song on here, and that is really saying something. The harmonizing on the Kingdom of Madness just really sticks in your head. The more it went on, the more I enjoyed it. I can see why he picked it at number 1, like I said, but for me, I actually liked In the Beginning better, which is also from this album, but that's going to segue me into my favorite tracks quite nicely. Honorable mentions, In the Beginning and The Word, faves, If I Could Live Forever, and Spirit. So those are my faves. I liked every song on here, man. I mean, I like this kind of music. Because it's part 1, I'm assuming Joseph's going to do some more of these. I don't know if it's going to be consecutively, but at some point I definitely look forward to diving into more of Magnum. It's the kind of sound I like. I know the sound's not for everyone, but if you're watching this, it's probably for you. So thank you, Joseph. Thank you to all the patrons who support this channel. If you'd like to support us anyway, check out the Patreon link below or the Patreon link on the end screen, where I will link that first top 10 list, top 10 Magnum S songs that Joseph did. Until next time, guys, I will see you.